Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Live in the Tank with Keith Deyo and Aaron Hairston. Fresh out the gym, killed it today, did some shoulders, a little bit of biceps, and of course that core. And today I want to talk about the vision. And I was listening to a message this morning, and it was talking about how we must set the stage for the vision to grow within us. And we talked a little bit about it yesterday in regards to what we've been designed to be has already been placed in us. Now it's time for us to listen into that voice of possibility. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because I think a lot of times we've let that go, right? We've let that vision go, and we haven't really dug deep enough into that vision to understand really what our responsibility is in life and who we're supposed to become. We get caught up in others' expectations, and that's okay as you get going and you start to define what it is that you're looking for, but you must make a decision. You must decide that you're going to move forward. All right, Aaron, what's up, man? Good to see you on here, bro. And for me, I feel that it's the Holy Spirit within me. It's the Lord's voice inside of me saying, hey, Aaron, this is what you've been destined to do. This is what I would like for you to do. And sometimes it gets super scary because it's like the vision is so broad and so huge that it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know the details of development. And the Lord always says to me, don't worry about the details. Don't worry about the details. Just be you to the fullest. Be beautiful. Ellie, what's going on? Aaron, what's up? Cheryl, what's up? Oh, man. Awesome. So as we wait for Keith to get on here, I want to ask you, have you heard that voice within you? Have you ever had the vision of more than you have right now? More than you have right now, and becoming more than you are right now? That's the question. Have you actually looked into that vision? Because that's what is important about growth and development. It's about being able to harness that vision and being able to see before it's actually real, before it's actually in sight and in touch, right? Before you can actually grasp it. And for me, it was this football player, then engineer, then entrepreneur and personal trainer and speaker and all these things. And I needed to get into alignment with my purpose and really what fueled me and really filled me up inside. And that's where I'm at now. And that's what really fuels me up. But again, I had to realize that through trial and error. And I wasn't afraid to try it. Now, many people thought I was crazy, maybe thought that I should be doing something different, or maybe they didn't. But either way, my decision was based on how I felt and then listening to the inner voice, right? Listening to that inner voice that has been placed inside of me to say, hey, listen, you are a light. So decide to move. And, Travis Carr's a really good friend of mine. When I first met him, we had this event. And at the end of the event, he handed everybody a candle. He turned all the lights off. And then he lit one candle and he said, okay, if your candle is lit, go ahead and pass the torch to the next person. And as you went around the room got lighter, brighter, and brighter and brighter. And all of a sudden, the room was lit. And everybody can see each other, and everybody can really harness the light and the warmth behind each person's torch. And that's what we're about, right? We're about having that light within us and being able to bring that light to other people so that they can also be the light. And Keith, I can't get you on here. I don't know why it's saying I can't get you on here, but go ahead and try again. Send the request. And that's what I'm helping you realize now, is that when we're out there sharing the story, or when we're out there encouraging and empower others, what we're doing is we're actually casting that vision. We're casting possibility. We're casting, where could you be if you decided not to have fear and to have faith? Where would you be? What would you be doing? Who would you be with? Right? And as you start to cast that vision, you start to find these new areas of excitement. You start to find these new areas of possibility. And that's when the real juices of life start to flood out. And Keith, I don't know, dude, it's not even popping up to say you're even available to jump on here. So I don't know what the deal is, dude. Hey, Kim, what's going on? Regina? Awesome. I'll wave to you, bro. Let's see. Yeah. Let me see. I can add Aaron. I can't add you, though. So that's what I want to talk about today, is casting that vision. And you must cast that vision for yourself. Because who else will? I mean, if you don't wake up in the morning and saying, this is what I intend for my day to look like, what are you leaving it up to? You're leaving it up to chance. You're leaving it up to decide what it's going to look like. And now you're just a role player. And that's what I want. That's what I want to bring awareness to, because again, if we don't decide that we are the director of our movie and deciding that our light within us is already there, then what we're doing is we're dying at that moment, right? As we start to lead into more of doing versus being. So what's up, Keith? How we doing, man?
Yes, we'll get fresh out the gym, right? About to
Yeah,
get
man.
right.
There you go, baby. I just had
About to
mine.
get right. About to get right.
Yeah.
Stack them,
That
stack them,
beer.
stack them, stack.
That
Right?
beer.
So,
Yeah, man.
so uh, I'm glad you're talking about casting a vision, and I'm really glad you're talking about career. That was my Australian accent. You hear that?
Yeah,
About.
bro.
You were, and I'm really glad you brought up career-wise, because I had quite an epiphany, as some might say, this week. It's probably, yeah, it was this week, and I really thought about the thing in my life that I switched off, that was holding me back the most, and it was through that whole Date with Destiny transformation from UPW to Date with Destiny to Life and Wealth Mastery, and it was really at Date with Destiny where I learned that the one thing that I was running from the most was pain, and the one thing that I was needing the most and running towards the most, or that was shaping my decisions every day the most,
Mm-hmm.
was love and connection. And so the thing that I needed most was love and connection, and I found it. I found it within, and then realized that it's already here. I no longer need to operate this way. Let me shake it up. Let me shake that snow globe and let the best stuff settle at the top, and make sure that it's so heavy, or that it's not so heavy, that it's so robust it doesn't sift to the bottom again. And I don't
Mm.
allow all that other stuff to get in. I created a better filter so that stays at the top. That's permanent. That's a
Yeah.
no compromise, always there. And then I realized that because one of my strongest away values was pain. And what happens is, when you find out what those two things are, what's going on, Brad? What's going on, Nick? Thanks for joining
What
us.
up, Nick?
When you find the two things, the one thing that you run away from the most, your away value, the thing that you least want in your life, and it's been driving you, and then the thing that you lack the most, that you find the most need in. When you find those two things, most often, if they aren't apparent to you yet, you're in a career that combines the two.
Mm.
One of them is going to provide the thing you need the most, and the other is going to allow you to feel more than, because of the people you're around that are in it.
Mm.
So I was like, boom, mind blown. And
Right.
when I start writing about this and I really start digging a little deeper, and I wanted to start here, because if there's any thought or any place that we want to broadcast, or we want to create flow in, and we want to share new insight in, it's the people, it's the version of us that show up when we're in this room, when we're in this tank. That's what the
Mm-hmm.
tank was born out of. It was born out of
Yeah.
intuition. It was born out of intentful flow. And that's why I wanted to wait and share it here. So it all started so it was in an environment that I knew it could come out the most organically. So I really started thinking about it. I'm like, man, I found a place where I was needed and I could be of service, so that I
Mm-hmm.
felt love and connection, right? There was
Yep.
a place there that I felt it. And I combined it with a place where people were in more pain than I was. And because I was helping them out of the pain, but they were still in it and experiencing more than I was, even though I was in pain every day, and that was something I grew a tolerance to because it became comfortable,
Right.
and I didn't know what to do to change it. I surrounded myself with people in pain that loved and felt connected to me. And those were two things. So now I felt I was in less pain than they were. So I created an
Mm-hmm.
equilibrium there. There was homeostasis.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the love and connection I needed because they were in my care. And I could get that from them. So I got a sense of being in less pain from them. I got a sense of love and connection from them. And I became a very needy person just like them.
Mm.
And now, if you look at the career you're in now and really, really understand it, especially if you're over the age of 35, because that's where 95% your operating systems are done. They're all unconscious level. And if you look at it, you're going to understand that the profession you're in probably combines the two, unless you were fortunate enough to find a window that you got into because of the growth that you've gone through, or you were put in a certain position because of the higher powers you were put in a certain position that took care of all that. It wasn't from a place where you need them as much as they need you. And you were put in a position where you could show up from a place of intent, full of abundance and prosperity, and allow everybody to eat. Allow a full course meal every single day. No one's tank is getting emptied. Everyone's filling up at the same time, because your ship is right. Your tide is rising, and you rise all ships because of it. And nobody says, I need to get credit for that. I need significance for that. I did this. You better say it was because of me. If you're in that place, then congratulations. Continue to grow there. I think that's where we are now. I think we found it. We took a path. We found it, right?
Yeah.
And I think you were in your engineering background. I think you can now. The wheels are turning, right? How did I end up there? Does that make sense? How did you end up as an engineer? How did you find that profession? What was the thing you were running from, and what was the thing you were running towards?
So for me, when I made the decision in college, it was Bill Gates, right? So I saw what Bill Gates was doing. It was right around the time Windows was being developed. And so it was Windows 95, and that was hot, right? I figured, you know what, I can always make Bill Gates money, right? You know, going
for the love of money, right?
Right, exactly. And what I was running from was failure. At home, I told my mom when I went to college, I was never coming back. I told her that. And I had left at 18. I said, I'm out. And I'm never coming back. I don't care how hard it gets. I will always, always be doing what I want to be doing. I'm not coming back, right? And so I was running away from that. And then as I saw how hard and how challenging it was in the profession of computers, realizing that, you know, I was only in remedial courses until 5th grade, and I was struggling with math and reading and comprehension, and I was that kid that just run around the classroom crazy. I just couldn't settle down. It was really hard for me to kind of settle. But what I found was my wife, and she helped me, and so she was kind of that bridge between the two. And she allowed me to overcome my fears of failure and allow me to embrace those challenges and realize that this was just another way that I can accomplish what it was that I wanted to accomplish, and that was being me. Because when I got into the profession,
it's good, Craig.
And when I found that, right now it was more significance at that point, because it was something of a talking point. Hey, I'm a computer engineer. Hey, I do computers. Hey, I'm an IT guy. Hey, you know, and it was all look at me, look at me. But when I was doing the job, I was struggling to really find myself in it. And it wasn't fun. However, what I found was some really, really cool people, and some people that I wouldn't have met had I chose a different path. And so going through that journey, I realized that every checkpoint in your life, whether you see it on the outside or not, is checking off things inside so that you can go to the next level. And that was the beauty of it. As I was looking at running away from fear of failure and saying, hey, I'm not going back home to say that I didn't follow through with what I said I was going to do. And I was running towards the success of money, which in turn ended up not being really what I was looking for. I was looking for more significance because I had some challenges playing football in college, right? Because of my academics in high school. So there was all these there was all kinds of things that was going on. And as I was growing within myself and I was going through a few things, I was realizing that this now has been the beauty of what life's all about, because that's where you start to realize that everybody in your life matters. That's when you realize that your purpose is what you decide to listen to, and that it's already there, right? And now you can cast a vision for others to share with them what's possible, and that there is no limitations but the ones we set for ourselves. And now we can become more abundant, which is already there, right? It's our birthright. So now as we tap into that, where else are you limiting your growth and stunting your growth and developing? Because you're deciding that, you know what, you don't have time, or you don't make time, or your fear of challenge or starting something new, or maybe even getting out there. Like Mark Bryce talked about on his post today, standing up in front of a crowd and presenting a passion of his, right? Yeah. And in being that, he didn't have the sweaty palms last night, right? He felt good. He stood up there, and he's an introvert, as he claims, but I told him he's always been that guy.
Yep.
right?
Why would his
That's
muscles be so big if he wasn't that way?
right on. And so it's special. And I truly believe, Keith, that what we have decided to do was tap into our true giving, God
We
given
got to the
talent.
core so we could give
Yeah,
more.
yeah. And then now all these people are showing up, right? And they're seeing it. I had a phone call today, Keith, from somebody has said, "Hey, listen, can you make an audio of your wake up, man? I want to make it a ringtone." He goes, "Just send it, just send it." And he goes,
Yes.
"You know what?" He goes, "This is what you're doing, man." He says, "Keep changing the world." And this is from someone in Seattle that I connected to a while back, and we've become good friends. And he's actually who was one of Tony Robbins' salesmen for his team for a long time, 20 something
Mm-hmm.
years. And so he's very in tuned with himself in growth and development. And he's seeing that in me, but it wasn't until I decided to step out my comfort zone, get on a live like this, and really be vulnerable and allow myself to grow through the fear and saying, "Hey, I have faith," right? There's no limitations but the ones that I set for myself. And I'm willing to tap into that to find what else is there inside of me that to make sure that I leave it empty on the table.
Yeah, it's called silencing the noise. We posted about that yesterday or the day before. It's knowing that the noise only exists in the past and the future. That's the only place where the noise exists. So if you've got noise or chaos or confusion in your head, remember and you know what it looks like. You know the mask that it wears. It shows up as anxiety if you're focused on the future, and it
Yeah.
shows up as depression and loneliness if you're in the past.
Mm.
And those are the two maps. That's it. Those are the two emotions. And you can only experience, the brain can only hold one emotion at a time. That's it. One at a
Yeah.
time. But the
That's
beauty
huge.
is in the contrast. That's where the gift lies. So you
Hmm.
know that if contrast exists and I am depressed or I am feeling less than, I know that there's also a more than. There's an equal and an opposite. And you don't have to
Mm.
jump the whole way. You don't have to
Mm.
make a whole jump. I've actually got a list of an emotional paradigm that allows you to step one at a time. It's actually it's a staircase. And it shows you what emotions exist one above the other, and where the equal is, and then the greater than, and how to get into the greater than. And you actually do a check-in. It was that Date with Destiny that Tony Robbins gave us the book, and it's something that I can post, or you can private message me and I'll send you a picture of it. Take a tally. Understand what's at your core, understand where you are. It's okay. We're looking for, Aaron and I talk about a pain-free range of emotion,
Mm.
understanding that the more you get here, the more you can be here or wherever it is you
Mm.
want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So we just like we function as in the physical form, and we unstack and stack all the joints in our body and allow the muscles to assist. That's what we want to do with our emotions and everything around it that's involved in emotions. That'll also assist your thoughts, your feelings, everything that goes before and after it. Understanding the process and the flow, that you once you understand that, you can open the floodgates and you can close them, and you can also adjust the pressure, and you can also kink it. And a lot of times we're walking around with a kinked toes and we don't understand why we feel this certain
Mm.
way, or why we're stuck, or why it's a mood. And we know that every 17 seconds another one's coming in. So you got about a 17-second window to change it. Otherwise, another one's coming in, and the more they stack, the harder it's going to be to change. So if you
Mm.
understand there's a stair step, you can step your way through a process, and only moments. And the better you get at it, the more reps you get at it, and then get there under pressure. So what happens when you're under stress? What comes out when you're under stress? What emotion is predominant under stress, or what your patterns are when it's self-induced or induced from your environment? What you'll find is how clean your reps are, how
Hmm.
well you've done the process. And
Mm.
that's why we do things that are oftentimes called monotonous. And if you're constantly switching up what you're doing, and you're a strategist, you have to be in control, and you're switching everything up, and you're making things different all the time, what's going to happen is that's a significant trait. That's you making the significance of being in control. And what's going to happen is you're not going to get enough reps at what you need the most. You're not going to be on a path of mastery, and
Mm.
you're going to get stuck, because when stress
Mm.
hits, everything's going to implode, and you're going to feel like you screwed everything up, like you're a failure, like you're losing, like no one's going to like you, everybody's judging you. Those are some of the things that we learned at Date with Destiny, and we learned ways to, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's part of what this life cycle process is. we've figured out ways to combat that. So it comes across as somebody like that is evolving or is on a path, as somebody that's even tempered or doesn't go through those lows and highs, because ideally you want lower highs and higher lows. So when you dip, it's more of a curve. It's not this drastic up and down and up and down. And you find out that when you fuel your body right and you balance off your brain chemistry, and then you realize that you're not a product of your environment's a product of you, then you find a sense of security and a sense of trust and freedom at the same time. So no matter which way you shift, feminine energy or masculine energy, no matter which one you're adapting to or adopting to, as you're shaping and shifting, you're going to find out that you're going to have a greater influence, and you're going to be able to disrupt an environment so that nothing stays the same anymore. When the water you walk on or walk in or through does not stay stagnant, and it doesn't create this tiny little ripple effect. You are a constant boulder in a lake, and then a bigger boulder in an ocean, and that ripple effect happens over and over and over again. Every so high that you can't surf it because you've become a level 10 person. So no matter what shows up, no matter what level problem shows up, even a level 9 problem that would break most people, it's simply a blip on a radar. And now I'm moving forward in my day. And I look what I'm getting done because I'm making decisions. That's what comes up when you're a leader.
Yeah, and the hardest thing for all of us is accepting that we're great.
Yes.
Because
Step
we
into
think,
it. Own it.
right. Because we think that is that's not what we've. I can't put a word on it.
Or that's
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
You go, no.
And that's the thing, is that we all have been created to create great things, and one of the greatest things that we can create is our life, right? What we actually use our time for. What do we use our attention for? What do we use our talents for, right? All of those things. And if you talk to the most successful person, and what I mean by success is someone who is fulfilled with their purpose, right? Because the external has very little to do with that. It can't relate, right? I mean, if you look at money or fame or fortune or, significance, all of that is an external value that is minimal compared to when someone has actually served their purpose, right? And so that's what I'm talking about in success. And so the hardest thing is that you actually been developed to do that. That's the hardest thing, is to actually accept that. To say, you know what, I've been designed and developed for greatness. Someone commented on my post this morning on LinkedIn, and he left a real long message, which was beautiful. And he talked about having a disability and how all his life he's always been told that he was limited at actually what he could do because of what his disability was. And he always wanted to be an entrepreneur. He always wanted to be a business owner. And people told him that he couldn't do it. He couldn't be a business owner. He didn't have this, or he didn't have that, or there was always these limits. And he said, Aaron, your video this morning about the voice inside of me, about what I always wanted to be, has been screaming at me for years, and I've been giving it what others' expectation of me of an answer. And I've been telling it it's not possible. I can't do it. Why, how can I do this? How can I do that? And because of that message, it's helped me realize that my purpose, and I found what fulfills me, and I don't look for outside acceptance anymore. Nope. That used to be important to me, but it's not as important as it was before. Now it just allows me to stay in a lane, knowing that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? If I'm seeing a difference and I'm making an impact and people are growing around me, then that means that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And this guy said, thank you so much. And that's what I wanted to share with you, because as you start to cast that vision, your life is showing what's possible for others. And it may be very, very minimal. Who would have thought that doing a video in the car was going to inspire so many people? Listen, I was under some stress at the time. I was looking at it as a freaking solution to an outlet, exactly. And now it's turned into an asset. How crazy is that, right? Wow. But that's the thing. As we start to realize that our purpose in life is really to show up without any expectations of anything other than what we actually feel inside of us, and saying, you know what, I want to do that. This makes me feel good. I can't wait to do that. And sharing that with other people, saying, listen, no matter how far along you've made it in life already, you can always tap back in to your source and saying, hey, this was always my fuel. I never opened it up. And now I'm choosing to open it up because someone told me that, you know what? It is my job to be great. It is my obligation to be myself, and that I don't have to put other people's opinions on it. I can give myself my own opinion and what I want to create and change and shift and sort and whatever it is that I choose to do because it fulfills me. And that will always show value, right? No one could ever pay you what you're worth, and you can always tap back in no matter how old you are, no matter how, how off the path you are. The path still exists. Just listen. Just listen and pray. I do a lot of prayer. I do a lot of meditation first thing in the morning, and I ask the Lord to remove anything that's going to distract me from focusing on him. That's what I do. I say, you know what, Lord, remove anything that's going to remove or shake or distract me of focusing on you, because I know that you are the voice within me. I know that you have the clarity and that I'm not going to lean on my own understanding. What I'm going to do is I'm going to listen, I am going to follow, and I'm going to be 100% regardless of what my expectations for either myself or what others expect of me. And that has changed everything for me, Keith, and it's allowed me to be that impact that I would like to be in everybody's life.
Absolutely, man. Listen, follow, and lead, and then understand that we can drop the expectation and focus on vibration. And so with that, we want to thank everybody that showed up live today, the likes, love, the comments. That's the heartbeat and the breath of this broadcast.
Yes,
and for the hundreds of thousands of people that are going to see this all over the world on replay, we are global now. We even are speaking to those that are suffering in silence that will get this video shared with them, because it's important as we get out here on this live to get this thing to echo. We need to share it off of our pages, have watch parties, do whatever it takes to get this message out. There are people that need to hear this today, that this message was designed specifically for them. We want them to benefit just as much as you and showing up. This is all about your vibration and what it creates as a whole. And we will see you tomorrow on In the Tank Live, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time with Aaron Hairston and Keith Deyo.
Peace.